Hello everyone, this is Paula and I am here today for us to do a craft with me, a create with me, whatever you want to call it. I've been just in the mood to create ephemera, embellishments, nothing over the top, different, just my take on some things. And so I'll show you what I've been doing, and there's several little things. So I did some envelopes out of paper, okay, out of textbook paper, and I collaged on those. And then you guys will remember a while back we made these flowers out of paper, and I had a few of those left, and this is just from various collage sheets that, you know, were digitals, and I just stitched around it. This little image here had this scalloped thing, so I just cut along that, went around it with a straight stitch, and got a small envelope. Then I used some cardstock from that was made by Anna Griffin, and I just folded it. Now I did not round the corners here or here. Okay. Now on this one I round the corners on the flap and on the bottom. So I did them all different. Now I also added this floral here. I haven't added anything to this yet. I might do some decorating on the back, okay? And so here is one that we're gonna use today, but let me show you. Isn't it cute? This was made out of text paper, text paper, also book pages. Let's just say book pages also. And this was separate pieces of different digitals. And I haven't sewn this one or glued the flower down on this one. I thought I'd show you to this point what I did, and then we can pick up where I left off. So what you do is you glue two book pages together, okay, which I've already done to save time. And then you decide what size you want them, okay? Now, there are ways to do it where your letters are in the upright position. So if you have your book page up like this, and you want your script to be straight across the front and legible, you want to do it like this, okay? So you got it like this. You want to fold away from you, okay? Away from you, in order to get your text to be correct on the front. Now, I am just kind of guessing at how deep I want that to be. I probably should have done it a little deeper, but we're not going to worry about it. And then we're going to go ahead and bring our flap down, probably about like that. You want to make sure everything's straight and even so it doesn't look crooked. And you'll notice also that the script is facing the right direction here. So often we fold stuff, and I'm guilty of it. I'm really bad. Like this, you know, we'll just fold it, not even look, and we'll have, you know, something upside down. You know, I don't pay attention half the time to the direction. But if you want the direction to be correct, that's how you do it. Now, I'm going to round the corners of the book page on the flap only. I like that better than rounding all four, okay? Now, what I did at this point was I collaged, okay? And we all know how to collage, and I'm trying to find what paper I decided to use for this. So I'm just going to grab some. Excuse me just a moment. Okay. I know what I was going to use for everything else, but I didn't think ahead on this particular one. Crazy me. So we'll just get some different. See, I've already done a blue one. That's why I really wanted to do a different color. Let me grab the other stack. Hold on. Got all these different stacks going. I think they kind of got mixed up. Okay, so let's just try this. There's really not any reason for anything in particular, but I really like this paper. I am not sure. This is Antique Paperia, and I have this craft paper there for inking. It drives me crazy to clean up ink all day long. So what we're going to do is start over here, and we're just going to tear this edging off. And of course it didn't tear straight as usual. It's because I'm not strong enough. And let's see. I'm thinking we want to put this here in the front. And I think I really would like to have it be like a solid piece in the front. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, I'm going to put it right in here, I think. Let me tear this other edge off. Whoops. Of course. And that's fine, because we've got to get that up here. It doesn't have to be perfect. As Rachel will say, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't. Try to decide which direction. I kind of like it like that. So what I think I'm going to do is cut it straight across. And try not to tear it this time. I want that flower on the front of the envelope. Okay. The problem I have with these rulers that tear is my hands are not strong enough to get a good, to hold it down well enough. So this is how that's going to look. Now we need to decide on the top. I really like this lace. And this is how I did these others, you guys. I just tore papers apart. Some papers, like I would use 3 or 4 different papers and different things that might have been used to collage. And so I'm going to put this right here because I like it on here. Now let's see how wide this is. I think it's about right here. We're about to find out. Yep. What do you know? Okay, and trim it right here. All right. Okay, now we've got this in the perfect place. I'm going to lay it there for a minute. Now, here on the top, and we'll round the corners again when we get everything on there. We've got this, okay? And if we wanted to add more of that, we could. I've got this little piece, and I'm going to look and see what it looks like. I'm just going to tear it off of this and just see if it will look better than having that big black splotch there. I don't think it does, but I do kind of like the thought of it being down on the bottom, possibly. We'll see. So I'm going to get the glue book, which is right here next to me. Surprise, surprise. And we'll get this started. We'll get it covered and so forth. I have several different projects I would like to show you. We might have to do it in 2 videos. Now, these aren't anything new to anybody probably. But, you know, when you haven't done them in a long time, it feels new, right? At least that's how I feel. I feel like it, you know, feels fairly new. Now, I'm not inking anything as I put it down. Just so you know, I will usually ink after, around the outer edges, but unless I'm wanting a particular tear to look like it stands out more. Now I'm going to take my scissors and just go back here, flip it over, and just kind of trim those long edges because there's some that's really hanging down. And right here. Okay. All right. Now, I like this, and this is the thing. I want to use this on there, and that's really going to be pretty. Now, the next thing on this to do is stitch around it. Now, I am not going to do that right now because I want us to be able to move on. You guys saw how they look when they're stitched around. See, you can see the stitching. I've got white. Now, the only thing this one needs is the flower glued on it, and I thought we could do that. If I can find the lost flower. I think this is the flower that must go with this one. Well, I don't know where it's at, but we all know how to glue a flower down, don't we? So this is how this one will look. And somewhere under all these stacks, I have the flower for this one. I want to put the right one on the right envelope. So I'm really pleased with how that turned out. Now, let's move on and do something else. Let me set these out of the way. I've got to find the flower for that other one now. If we have time, we'll go back and stitch those. Okay. Next is the next little thing I'd like to do is move these papers, first of all. And let me move this stuff out of the way. We're not doing this. Okay. Now, I am going to make, you can do it as a floating pocket, okay? Or you can do it as a pocket to hold a big tag and 2 small tags. Now, this is simply one of these card bases. This one's been tea stained, so we'll use it. This is a card base, okay, that was cream color. And this is what I did to get the look. I simply lined it up here on my grid, folded it over, made sure everything lined up nicely. Let me make sure. It almost looks like it could come this way a little bit, but I am not gonna make a total big deal out of it. I think it's close enough. I thought the first one was crooked, and it wasn't when I measured. Shows you what I know, right? Okay, this one's definitely crooked, though. I can see that it is. Let's do this other one. I have 2 here. You always have one on standby. Okay, so I'm going to fold it different this time where it's facing me. Because then I can see. I'm going to line it up here and keep it straight as I can. And then I can line up the edge and know. Now, I did make this one go down a little further. Yeah. And you have to realize, too, if you're using a card base, which I did, this I folded into a card base. It was with some I had folded. And so, because of that, I used it because I wanted that color, that particular color. So I'm going to round those corners, and I'm going to round the corners at the top, but not the bottom. Okay. Then I'm going to line this up right here, and I'm going to get my ruler, find out where center is. Okay. You just put it here, and that is the center. Now, to me, it's easier to find the center of your this way, and then you can just put some little dots. This is the Tim Holtz ruler that helps you to center things. And this is exactly how I did it. And then I turned and just drew from one to the next very lightly. Trying to get it straight. Okay, because you can erase that, but I want to make sure I'm sewing it straight down the center. Now, I am not going to move the camera. I'm just going to stitch straight down here with a straight stitch. And I hope you guys are having a good day, a fairly productive day. It's what I'm trying to do. I'm just excited because guess what? I got rid of the walker today. I went to the doctor on Thursday and I just wasn't ready. And it's so funny what one day will do, because 1 or 2 days, well, I had Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then today I told my husband I feel like I don't need it, and so praise the Lord. That's what I say. Okay, so now I'm just ready to get out of this house. My husband said he would have took me like to Hobby Lobby or something over the weekend, but he's afraid I would give out, and he's probably right. So I'm going to ink this, okay, with Vintage Photo, and I'm just going to do a light inking. I'm not going to go too crazy. There we go. Make it kind of even so it looks better. Now, you know, I'm so sick, I don't know about you guys, but I'm sick of just the, you know, the same old pockets and tucks and all of that. And so I decided to do something that I felt like was really different. I mean, I'm using this as a pocket, or you can use it as a floating pocket. And, yeah, I probably should have put the ink on these before. Tip number 1, put your ink on before if you want it to be perfect. Which I'm not going for. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, so there we go. Now, take your eraser. Make sure it's clean. And just erase down your string. Now, you don't want to have it dark enough that you really need this. I did it darker so I could show you on video. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to pull out 2 tags that I thought, let me find them. I have them over here. These are Roxy Creation. Some of her tags, if I can find the other one. It's like one is disappeared somewhere. That is not even funny. Where did it go? Excuse me just a moment. I'm digging through my tall amount. If I can't find it, I have a backup. I don't know why it would have just... I have a stack of tags here. And that is so weird. Okay, well, I had my heart set on the other one. Do you ever do that? Just like, you know, it's going to show up the second this video is over. And I know that I have others somewhere. I'm sorry, give me a minute, because I want to use this because I feel like that will look really pretty, right? And this is for this window. Or the other choice I have is this. Now, they'll go down inside. I just am not forcing them down yet. Okay. All right. Well, I guess we're going to go with the yellow one. And make me sad. It makes me sad because I worked really hard putting it all together. Yeah, I did. I worked really hard. Okay, so I'm going to grab this stack of tags right here. You guys, I have more tags than I will ever use. These are Rachel's. But, yeah, I thought that would look really pretty having those 2 butterflies there. And I was thinking maybe I left it. But, you know, there's so many here. It would take me forever to actually go through them and find the other one. Oh, hello. I think I found it. I did. See, it pays to kind of look around, doesn't it? Okay. Here it is. Now that's a small one. I might have to cut these down too, because they only have 2 of each, I think. But those are going to go right there. How cute, right? Okay, now I'm going to make... I've got this bright orange over here, but I'm trying to decide. I'm going to do a ruffle. I'm using this for more than one thing. And I think I'm going to do it with this one. I'm going to do a paper ruffle. And I'm sure everyone in here has done this. I haven't done a lot of them, but I was watching, who was it? Give me a minute. Her first name's Angela. And she just did one of the friendship albums, or journals. Okay, I'm doing all 4 sides because I'm going to be making more than one row. Now, you could, if you wanted to, you could cover this lower portion with something, but I chose not to. I'm decorating the top, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is go just like this. I'm just going to do two of these exactly the same size. Okay, if you measure with the ruler itself, the tear ruler, then you will be able to see how to make it even. Okay, now how you do it is you start off holding this and you just fold it under just a little bit right there, and you crease it under, and that's fine. You hold it. Then you just start pulling this forward into like a ruffle would be, or a pleat. Okay, now you want to try to keep it as straight as you can. I'm not an expert at this by no means, but the more you make them, the easier they get. Now, I'm getting them kind of close. The closer you put them, the more paper you need. And I'm going to lay it down here so you can kind of see better maybe. Yeah, there we go. Now, I got a piece of paper where it's fighting me a little bit on staying straight. There we go. There we go. And if you wanted to use your grid here, you could, on how to keep it straight the best you can. Now, this is where the first one ended, and now we're going to hook the second one on here. Let's fold it under at the end. That's how it's going to be attached, okay? And we're going to put some glue, trim that long. I don't want it quite that long right there. So we're going to hook this where we folded it under right there. And I'm going to put some glue right here and right underneath to hold that on, the other piece on. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. So now we're going to go back here and do another row. Okay, come on, come on. Here we go. Now, there's no way to know for sure until you've done these for a long time how long they need to be. But we just need to start ending this one because we don't need any more than that right there. Leave a little extra to fold under. Okay. Now, this is going to go right here. And I'm going to stitch down the middle of it first. Now, I will tell you this. When I did this one, I did not stitch down the middle. Okay, but I glued it down really nicely. But on this one, I'm going to just do a straight stitch, or how about a zigzag stitch? I'm pushing my luck here, aren't I? Trying something, I'm trying to be courageous. Okay. Now, I'm going to put this up here, and we're going to do the zigzag stitch. Now, I know you can't see me. I'm sorry, but this is the best way we can do it today. I got so much stuff on my desk that, you know, just from working, that I can't move everything at one time, you know. Now, when you're doing this, you want to keep your paper flat, and as you go along, it's going to want to unfold. But you just have to go slow enough, fold them, and then you can do the next little bit. You just do so many ruffles and stop. And then, because you've got it folded nice and creased, you can go ahead and do it that way. There we go. Now, I think it looks better when you stitch it, okay? But that's to each their own. All right, so trying to decide which way. I want as much orange in here as possible. And I feel like either way is going to do it. So I want some trim, which is like a crocheted trim. And I'm just going to cut enough off to go across here. Okay. Now, we're going to glue down the ruffle first. And I'm going to bring it down a little bit more than I did on the one I demoed with. Okay. Now, I'm going to use some Fabri-Tac for this portion. Now, you would need to ink your, you'll need to ink your tags also. Just because it's time I didn't, but that's, you will want to ink your tags. Okay, here we go. So if you can do it right in the middle like this, it'll look good that way. Now, just a couple things. If you wanted to, you could put a flower there, or a cluster, or something like that. I just chose to use this trim. Now, when you go to use this trim, you want to make sure that it's flush with what you're gluing down. Okay, now we know that we want to glue it at the top, so that's what we'll do, is go across the very top. Try to stay on the pocket and not on the tags, and then just a little bit to hold the sides. Now you want to turn it so you can see that you're lining it up on the straight edge, which is where the pockets start. And I kind of left this right here so it looked kind of like a real ruffle. Okay. Now you could do a cluster with a button. There's a lot of things like that you could do. Now we're gonna pull out. Let me get. I've had to rearrange a few things in here since I had my surgery, and I got used to how they were set up, and now I've got to learn it all over again, where things belong. Okay, I am going to go ahead and ink this. I want you to get the true effect of it, since we're just making one today. You'll want to ink the front and the back. I'm not doing super great. Inking doesn't have to be perfect. Now, if you're doing it for a different thing that requires perfection, because we're doing junk journals, and so I don't mean for you to go in there and deliberately make it look crappy, but you know, some people are real picky about how their things are inked. Now I'm getting I have a few buttons on my table here. And so these were just loose buttons. And so I decided to use some of these today. Now, we've got these things to look at and consider. I kind of want it to match everything. So, if we put this, let's put the pockets, let's put the tags in the pockets first. Okay. We could even, if we wanted to, we could have even put a butterfly on, a tiny butterfly on the trim, but I felt like that was overkill. Okay, we don't want it to be butterfly, 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 everything, right? Okay, now, we're going to put something that looks good up here. So we have yellow in this. We have blue in this. We have a orangey kind of tangerine color. Kind of a peachy color. It's hard to describe. Yeah, that one looks good. Now, because we don't have any brown down here, I don't think brown would look good. Just saying. Just kind of guessing at that. I'm going to look and see if there's two buttons alike. I don't see another one like it. But it doesn't have to be the same button. Okay. So there we go. We'll pick those two. And they really are different colors, aren't they? Not much, though. Not by much. I usually, when I use this little thing of buttons, usually you just get what you get out of here. You know? You guys know what I'm saying? Okay. Now, also on here, we're going to put some twine. So I'm going to pull out my my craft paper for this because, you know, I want it to, okay, now, I'm going to hold the end of it. Because it's so white, I'm going to use some ink on it. And you can do this with any color of ink. Okay? And you just keep pulling through until you get it. I don't want it perfectly brown. I just want it not to look so white. And I say that's good enough. Okay. Now, we're going to cut this in half. Okay, now we're just going to go into the hole from the front, take that same string and go back up through the hole. This is just some crochet thread that I keep on hand to use with my buttons. And I always kind of get a white or an off-white. This is actually, no, this, I don't know if that's what this one is or not. It looks like that. I'll just put it that way. It looks like crochet thread, so it may or may not be. I buy different stuff, but it looks like it. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing with this one because it has, we're going to go down through the front. And then turn the button over and go back up through the same, with the same piece of thread or twine or whatever you want to call it. Whoops. And I just pulled it out. So go in through the front and back down. Come on, silly thing. I'm like, why would something this simple be difficult? It's because my fingers don't work like they should. Crazy fingers. Okay, so now we're just going to glue these down rather than having a lot of string, you know, sticking up and dealing with a bunch of stuff like that. What I like to do is just put in the middle of both of them, approximately the same place, a button. Now I'm leaving the knot on the top so that the buttons can dry as flat as possible. Now it feels like this one must have had a rounded bottom. It did. It's okay. It will eventually dry. So here we have our floating pocket, which is, I mean, it's unreal the different things you could do with this. You know, you can do all kinds of things. So yeah, that is that one. Now let's go back and see what else we've got we can work on. I'm going to let that dry. Now, where did I put our envelopes? Going back to the envelopes. Okay, so I want us to finish this now that I know we got that one done. Let me check the time. Okay, we do have time to finish that one. So let's do that. Okay, get that over there. Now I do have to have my machine. Let me see if you can see if I do that. You can see a little bit, can't you? Okay. My mat is, that's, you know, it's hard when you have a mat to get it just right. Now I've got this on zigzag, and I'm going to use zigzag across the top. And then we'll turn it and do it with a straight stitch. I can find the petal under my table here. Try to be as straight as you can. This is the one that will be noticeable. This one and the one on the flap. Okay, so we've got that stitched right there. Now, I'm going to change it to straight stitch. And I'm going to start right here, okay, and go to right here. And then I'm going to flip it over. And I'll show you when we get there. I like the way the front stitch looks better than the back stitch. So we don't want it to look, you know, all ugly. So I'm back stitching right here where the pocket edge is. I think I actually like my old sewing machine better. Are you guys, are you like that? You get something new and you're accustomed to the old, and even though it gives you all kinds of trouble constantly. Let's see, I think I'm going to go one more time and hope it doesn't go off the envelope. It's just barely on there. You get a better looking stitch when you use the front or the right side, put it on the right side. If you stitch around this, we're going to have the stitch that's not near as pretty on the front. And so what I'm doing by switching it around is going to allow it to look better. I'll show you what I mean. We're just going to start where we left off. And we're just going to go right around. That curve makes a difference. Got to slow down on those curves. Sometimes it's easier said than done, huh? Now, if you want to get real fussy, you can stitch across here. And I think I'm going to be different. I'm not back stitching because I don't want it to be yucky looking on the front. And this isn't something that holds something together. It's just more for looks. And so let me move this right here. Get all the strings off of it. Okay, there we go. Now, that looks nice. Let's go ahead and ink it at this point. Now, you don't have to ink the back unless you want it to decorate, you know, unless you want it to be something special. You know, if you want to decorate the back, you can. I have not been decorating the back of these, but you can. And probably you would like it better if you did. I just, you know, got involved in decorating the front and didn't go around to the back side. Now, if I did the back side, I would do it for journaling, which is, you know, what it's all about. Why we make the books, right? I'm going to kind of darken that a little bit. You do want to check your language. I didn't. But this is a little women's paper or book page. Okay, and then here is the flower, which we're going to put on now. And you just go in circles. Get plenty on there. Now, this takes a little bit to dry. And with it, with this, I'm trying to think what I could set on top of it to make it go even faster, but honestly, I don't know what it would be. It's not a whole lot here to set on top of it. Now, I need to see, I have this one that somewhere I misplaced its flowers. So I have some more. I'll just pick at another one. This one has green in it. Here is pink. Here is orange, which is what I could have used on that one. And then here's a red one. So I think we'll go with this one. Now, this one also needs to be inked. I'm sorry, I forgot to turn you back. Crazy me. I'm sorry, guys. I hope you saw what I just did. We're inking around the envelope. And I was just saying that you could decorate the back if you would like. Now, this one has not been stitched on the machine, so we don't want to glue it on yet. and I'll stitch it after the fact. I should have inked I should ink before I stitch because it's just easier. And I may decide to go back and do the backs on these if I have time sometime today. Okay, and so that one will be like that. And I'm keeping these on the sewing machine. So I know the next thing that needs to happen is they need to be sewn. Okay, now set this one aside to dry. Bring in our other toy. And I'll set this one here so you can see it, and bring this one over. I don't have the tags in it. So pretty much these are like a tuck, kind of like a tuck and a pocket, okay? So you can call them either one. Okay, so there are our projects for today. Hope you guys had fun and enjoyed this project. And I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to go over to the previous video and enter the giveaway. I'll be giving 2 journals away to 2 lucky ladies. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.